August 15. While we wait for a thunderstorm here, or so it feels, grab a coffee and let's get smarter together. Before my epiphany yesterday about why our mind makes us prone to be manipulated, I talked about how the introduction of funerals in pre-dynastic Egypt hacked the human word generation protocol, eliminated the existing natural support networks, and created new networks of obligation and debt. And what central role stroking fear, the fear of ghosts in this phrase, played. The imagination our mind is based on. Today I want to show you how the hack of our mind ultimately changes our body. Let's start our journey of discovery in the Netherlands during World War II. The Nazis occupied the country. Now, the Nazis, as well as Egyptian dynasties, but let's face it, also nation-states that define themselves via sovereignty over a territory and a people, also known as holding the monopoly of violence, are only possible once the human world generation protocol has been hacked. This has results like the elimination of existing natural support networks and more or less severe shifts of the tilt of explore-exploit balance away from exploration and towards the exploitation of existing information for the benefit of what we today know as the upper 1%. With the Nazis, the results were very grave. The Dutch resisted. So the Nazis created a man-made famine. The Dutch starved. Many thousands died, but something else happened. The children and even grandchildren of the survivors often suffered of metabolic problems. How? How did they inherit the problems of their grandparents? Bianca Jones-Marlin, a neuroscientist at Columbia University, is researching now how experiences can impact the makeup of our body for generations. Make them fit for the results of a hack of a human word generation protocol so that we might accept the resulting conditions as normal, even though they are far from it. For her study, Marlin presented mice with almonds. The scent of almonds triggers a certain receptor in the mice's nose. She combined the scent of almonds with a tiny electric shock. Whenever there was the scent of almonds presented and the receptors got triggered, there was a tiny shock. After a while, Marlin noticed that the mice had grown more almond receptors in their noses because their experiences had taught them that the scent of almond was something to pay special attention to. It was a lesson they handed on to their offsprings because they too were born with more almond receptors in their noses. How? Despite what most people think, it's not our DNA, but bioelectricity that tells cells what they should build on a certain place. You build an eye here and you build a tail there. It's bioelectricity, not the DNA. Mind me, bioelectricity, the cognitive glue that merges cells into a higher level pattern, a collective intelligence, doesn't tell them how they should do that. That's encoded in other ways, like DNA, that explains how different types of proteins are formed. Bioelectricity is on a higher level of management than that. And in the shocked mice, bioelectricity tells cells that up to then had minded their own business to build more almond receptors at certain spots in the nose. Why? Because the mind, probably the cells collective that's the mice's body too, wanted more information just like the one it already got from the existing receptors to implement them into the model of the world. The little shock just had made detecting the energy pattern that we recognize as an almond as so much more interesting, so much more worth interacting with to give the material things combined in the mice a chance to get closer to their goals. Interesting enough that the memory of the way energy should be directed through a mouse to create the best suitable mouse in the current surroundings is handed on to the following generations. It's very much like the two-headed planaria from Levin's lab at Tufts University, whose body schema was changed via the pathway of bioelectricity, and secreted two-headed offsprings henceforth, until told otherwise. It's all a mirage though. The mice world generation protocol was hacked, and now their model of a world that they generate contains mistakes. And yet, this model is the reality they are now living in. It is their reality. They assume this is normal and even change their body for it. What's really normal per the physical universe will be experienced as a deviation, making it hard to return to it. The harder, the more the initial hack is reinforced, no matter whether living by the new normal makes us physical or mentally sick, like in the case of the Dutch children and grandchildren and their metabolic problems, or like in the case of all of us who have so much mental and physical problems because of society, of the way our society works, of how we exploit existing knowledge for the benefit of a few instead of exploring. So explore, as known as think. Make a habit out of thinking. Let's turn thinking into the norm again. Like, comment, share, and follow, lest you miss a single opportunity to improve yourself and society. Once you do, we'll meet again at the coffee pot.